And we kick off with transit news. Congestion pricing, one major step closer to reality. The MTA board voted to approve a slate of congestion pricing tolls for vehicles entering Manhattan below 60th Street, putting the agency on track to begin collecting the fees late next spring. The tolls impose a $15 fee on passenger vehicles entering the zone between 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekends. Small trucks, buses, and vans face a $24 charge, while large trucks, including big rigs, will have to pay $36. Motorcycles will be tolled a $7.50 daytime fee. The tolling scheme does include a few exemptions. The MTA says additional exemptions would raise the cost of the base fare. The program, required by law, is generating about $1 billion a year. Drivers who make $50,000 a year or less won't have to pay for their first 10 trips into the zone each calendar month. Emergency vehicles, vehicles transporting people with disabilities, and drivers who live in the congestion zone and make $60,000 a year or less are exempt. Drivers who remain on the West Side Highway or the FDR Drive, they will avoid the charge. In other news, community leaders convened to combat domestic and gender-based violence. Attendees educated on the identifying signs of intimate partner violence, debunking common myths as well as misconceptions, as well as how to respond as an active bystander. Our Bronx reporter, Kim Naleen, has a story.
My message to every resident across our borough is love should never hurt.
The Bronx Borough President's Office partnered with NYLAG and 36 organizations across the community to host a workshop recognizing the signs and dangers of domestic violence.
Today's violence intervention training is an opportunity to share best practices, warning signs. How do you identify what the signs could be of domestic and gender-based violence in all forms?
The training covered various forms of domestic violence and provided solutions for addressing it. Participants learned to recognize signs of intimate partner violence, debunk common myths and misconceptions, and how to respond appropriately as a bystander.
Just explaining, understanding what is violence. Someone could be in violence and not even know that they're being abused because maybe they don't see the scars or they're not being physically abused. Domestic violence comes in so many forms, and it can start just as a verbal and become an emotional thing, and a person can live in that emotional space for years without seeking help, without getting help, without talking to anybody, because they don't realize that there's help out there.
With a $1 million grant from the Department of Justice, the NYPD, and more, community leaders say they are committed to addressing the issues of domestic violence facing vulnerable New Yorkers.
We have over 540 members of the service dedicated to domestic violence victims alone. And a lot of people are not aware. In every precinct, we have a domestic violence team that's willing to help any survivors at any given time. And they work relentlessly around the clock, just dedicated to victims themselves.
We're here to help, no judgment, no bias. We're just here. Before we put on a uniform, we are a mom, a sister, a dad, a brother. So we understand, and we just want the knowledge to get out that you're not alone in this situation.
The intervention workshop is just one part of Gibson's overall mission to ensure that DV Awareness Month remains an ongoing effort. To stay up to date with the Borough President's events, visit the link below. Reporting for BronxNet, Kim and Aline.
And thank you, Kim. In community news, every day's a miracle. Open its supermarket-style food pantry in the Fordham section of the Bronx. Our BronxNet reporter, Brittany Schuyler-Albay, she has the details.
1, 2, 3.
The ribbon has been cut on a new food pantry here in the Fordham section of the Bronx.
What we know, too many families are living in food deserts and lacking the necessary health and wellness that they truly need to live healthy lives.
But this isn't your standard food pantry. This is a supermarket-style pantry created by Everyday is a Miracle. Rather than picking up pre-made food bags at the pantry, families have the chance to choose the specific items they want, much like your average trip to the grocery store.
It will help our community basically have a better choice on choosing their food.
Executive Director Maria Torres told us more about this process.
They now could be able to shop around. We're also gonna give them a member card. Gonna be serving family based on the household size.
As the Bronx sees a food insecurity rate of 19.7%, it is crucial now, more than ever, to have an organization like Every Day is a Miracle not just provide food to the community, but do it in a way that allows families to feel safe.
It's gonna bring a lot of respect, I guess, dignity.
Torres encourages those in need to stop by the pantry and promises that everyone will feel, quote, valued and respected. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler Albane.
And thank you, Brittany. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break. And guess what? We'll have more open when we return.